according to you, as your journey was like in your bar, you were so dedicated at preparing for ISRO by utilizing every minute.
Yeah.
And your college days, and especially when your tech drop in Delhi, you were so dedicated to preparing. But before that, you also told that in 12th you were wasting time.
Yeah.
So, apart from guilt, that what is one thing that people lose enthusiasm, and how can people?
Fear. Guilt is very important that you rightfully pointed out. Other than it is fear, and we are all very afraid of fear, right? We don't want to be afraid. We don't want to be terrified. Whenever you're terrified, you think that, oh, I should not be feeling like this, and what can I do? Should I meditate, or what should I do? Should I talk to friends so that I feel more comfortable? But reality is that fear actually kept me going for a long time. So in my college also, I was afraid that if I'm not going to get a job, then what am I? Because my father is not having a business, I'm not having any employment. A natural trajectory would be going back to home. In India, for girls would go back home in 2 years, they would get married. That's in general, don't bring exceptions. For boy, you will go back home and stay unmarried, right? That's as simple as that. If you're an unemployed guy in India, not even your parents can find a mate for you, right? So that was something that I saw. I do not know if just for me, I think everybody has this. All of you do have a vision for the future. Like, you do know how your future is going to roll out if you do this. If you do not do this, how your future is going to go. You all know that much, right? If you don't, then I think you have solved one problem. That is the problem of overthinking. Now you're not overthinking, right? When you're overthinking, basically what you're doing is accumulating a future, right? This is going to happen after this. I used to have suicidal thoughts, man, honestly. Back when I was in Delhi, that was so terrifying that I used to think somewhere like, oh, this is going to happen, then I'm going to fail in this examination, and this is going to happen, and then I'm going to jump off a roof. And that's how bad overthinking can get if your situation is that bad. But in a similar manner, you can also think about the positive things, right? Okay, this is going to happen, then I might do it like this, and I might find solution like this, and I'm going to proceed like this, and my life is going to get better. So obviously, you can always think about, if you do this, then what is going to happen? If this does not work out, what is going to happen? And that fear comes a lot of times because you know that if you don't do this correctly, then your life is not going to be good, or it's going to be worse than it is right now. So that fear motivated me a lot, because I was already not in a good college. The campus situation was not good. I was very adamant and stubborn that I'm going to study mechanical engineering. I'm not going to take computer science engineering just for the sake of placement. So all these created me, or pushed me in a pocket where I just had to work. Otherwise, I was not going to have a future. So that's what pushed me in the college. It got even worse after the graduation, because now you are an unemployed dropout for a year. So obviously, and now you can't go for a mid-tier job. Now you have to go for the best, like top-tier jobs. So I had more things on the stake, and that's again the fear that I have to get a job, I have to get something, because again I'll be unemployed and I won't be independent. That's another thing. Like, if you don't work hard, you won't have the freedom. That's a good enough motivation for you to keep going, right? If you don't have income, financial stability, then someone else is helping you financially, and whoever is doing that is not going to be that gracious all the time, 100% of the time. And most of the time, those people who are helping you financially are also going to be controlling your life. This happens. This is the reality. I'm not over here to stand and lie. So that was the fear. That was the fear that I'm not going to be independent, I'm not going to be free, and so I should work. So fear is a very important motivating factor. I think at least one of you have gone through that one podcast where I talked about fuels of motivation. And the next one is, you remember?
Power of guilt.
Yeah, guilt we talked about fear. You remember any more? There were 5 in total. The third one is also important, that is ego, and that is not in everybody, but I think everybody can be helped by it to some level. Some ego is important. Ego is basically like, I'm having some self-respect, and I expect some amount of respect. That's it. And if I said I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And is anything harmful in those three? I don't think so. So ego is good to keep on pushing you after some point, because at some point your life is secure, so you don't have fear. So when I'm already in Department of Atomic Energy, I'm not afraid that I'm going to be unemployed. Even I got the worst posting, I'm still employed, right? So I don't have fear, and I don't have guilt because I already did something. So I washed all the sins that I had. But what am I going to use to keep on going forward? And at that point, it might be ego, that I want more, I want more. And sometimes the ego turns into a Hitler and he wants to conquer the world. But if you have it toned down to a level you are realistic, like my ego lasted only as long as I needed to have it to get into Indian Space Research Organization. And even in this book, you will see, I think, I'll read out a line so that you understand exactly what I'm talking about. And by the end of that, there's a line which says that this is the last time that I competed. And it is also mentioned that I came super close to losing my mind. It made me better and propelled me far, but by now I had realized that nothing would be left to be propelled if I burnt any longer. This is the last time I'm going to compete. So 2018 was the last time I ever competed, and that was the end of my ego. I think it was very important for me at that time. Otherwise, you are only getting into a negative direction and you're not having a stable relationship. You're having nobody close to you, and there's only one direction it is going to go. So I used ego to some point, and after that, my motivation has always been like, I'm going to just have a better life. But till that point, you can use guilt, fear, and ego. That's it. And other two factors I've also talked in that podcast is like creating a bigger impact. And that is something you might be seeing from this book.